Okay, welcome folks. We'll get the ceremonies underway. Thank you for coming out today to help us celebrate the grand reopening of Little Swan Park and help us celebrate Canada Day. I'll move that a little further back so brief feedback. We had hoped the weather was going to cooperate, and we listened to the weather forecast, and of course we were expecting rain on look outside. But anyway, we won't let that dampen our celebration. We'll carry on. Sorry for the cramped space, but we were expecting a torrential downpour. It seems like we've been working on plans to redevelop this park for years now. In fact, the idea started about 7 years ago, when a group led by Real Monk helped Clareville win the Craft Celebration Tour. The $25,000 grand prize helped to spark a redevelopment of this park. Council used this prize money as seed money to design the new Bill Davis Chalet. With the opening of the new chalet in 2014, Council then embarked on a plan to completely revamp the entire park. Track Consulting was hired to conduct public consultations, and from these public consultations, a concept design was developed. So many individuals have contributed to the redevelopment of this park in so many ways. Too many to mention here today individually. As I'm sure you can understand, we were 7 years in the development stage, so there's been so many people involved. In fact, we've had 3 separate council terms, 3 separate MHAs, 2 MPs, and countless town staff having a role in redeveloping this park. This project has been a labor of love for me personally since 2013. I'm thrilled to finally have it completed, and more importantly, I take great joy in seeing the many happy faces, both young and old alike, enjoying the many amenities this park has to offer. You can visit this park any day of the week, and you will see people walking the track, kids playing in the playground and splash pad. Countless groups use this chalet for their social functions. Seniors have weekly social meetings here. The ball field is a hub of activity. So this park has truly become a gathering point for our town. The total investment in this park redevelopment, not including the new Bill Davis Chalet, was approximately $1.6 million. And it was achieved by all 3 levels of government partnering to help fund this project. I would like to thank the federal government through ACOA, the provincial government, and the town of Clareville for their tremendous investment in this very worthwhile project. With that said, even with funding from all 3 levels of government, we did not have enough funds to complete everything we wanted to do with this project. Thankfully, community organizations and businesses stepped up and donated the remaining funds. Through their donations, we were able to finish this project and include features such as a splash pad, cookhouse, an accessible playground, and a paved 0.6 kilometer walking track, just to name a few. I'm very pleased to have in attendance today Elizabeth Swan's family. I believe they're somewhere here in the crowd in the back, I think. They traveled to be with us today as we celebrate the reopening of this park, which bears their mother's name, Elizabeth Swan. Thank you for being here today. I'm sure your mom and dad would be so proud of what this park has become and what it represents for our community. Next, I'd like to call upon Mayor Russell to bring greetings on behalf of the town of Clareville.
Thank you, David. MP Rogers, MHA Parrott, Swan family members, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good afternoon to everyone. Happy birthday, Canada. Bon fête le Canada. While most Canadians know that today, July the 1st, as Canada Day, here in Newfoundland and Labrador, the day has an additional and a more solemn meaning. Here it's known as Memorial Day, and it marks the anniversary of the Battle of Beaumont Hamel in World War I. It is important that we know that their sacrifice was made, and of course it made it possible for us to enjoy the freedom that we have today, and of course to be able to enjoy this beautiful park. Today at 12 o'clock we had a very good crowd at the War Memorial in front of the Town Hall to remember this special day. I am delighted as well on behalf of the residents of Clarenville to welcome everybody here today. This is a wonderful day for the town of Clarenville for two reasons. Firstly, we are reopening our greatly refurbished municipal park. And secondly, we are again to pay tribute to one of our pioneer recreation and civic leaders, Elizabeth Swan. As David just mentioned, in 2012, under the leadership of then Councillor Jill Monk, the town of Clarenville was successful in hosting the Craft Celebrations Tour. With this event, of course, came lots of national profile, as well as $25,000 prize. It was immediately recognized that the Elizabeth Swan Park needed an enormous facelift. And this $25,000 prize was to serve as a tiny seed for its refurbishment. I want to thank Jill and her hard-working committee members for that extremely important event. Subsequently, a master plan was developed, and with funds from the town, from the federal government, from the provincial government, corporate donations, as well as the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, and the Co-op Lions /50/50 Committee, approximately $1.6 million was assembled, and these funds, of course, were used for this humongous improvement. And a big thank you to all of our partners for coming forth with such a large sum of money. Bringing this comprehensive plan to fruition certainly required very capable project management and experience, and the expertise of our CIO, David Harris. And let's show our appreciation for the work that he did. David spent countless hours of management and supervision down here on this project, which went well, of course, beyond his normal working hours. I also want to thank our recreation staff, our outside workers, for their valuable contribution to the completion of the project. Shortly after her tragic and untimely death in 1985, the town of Clarenville wisely decided to name this park after Elizabeth Swan. For over 30 years, this aptly named park has been synonymous with sport and recreation. And of course, it has become the focal point in our community that we wanted it to be. I can safely say that one of Elizabeth's greatest accomplishments was the establishment of the Flying Blades Figure Skating Club here in Clarenville. And of course, that provided for the first time the opportunity for girls in our town to become organized in organized sport. Although boys were welcome there as well, it was predominantly in the beginning for girls. But some of our hockey players, of course, participated as well. Her strong leadership skills led her through the ranks of the provincial organization, and she later, of course, became very prominent in the Canadian Figure Skating Association. Elizabeth's contribution to our town was not limited to figure skating. She was highly involved in the Home and School Association, the Canadian Red Cross, the Royal Canadian Legion, and many other town organizations and groups. With her husband, Dr. John Swan, they opened Clarenville's first dental practice in 1953. She strongly supported her husband, who served for 2 terms as mayor of the town of Clarenville. Together they raised 3 children, Marion, Fiona, and Ian, and I'm so happy to see all 3 of our children here today with some of grandchildren as well on this very momentous occasion. I knew her very well, and there is no doubt in my mind that Elizabeth's keen sense of vision, her great leadership style, and her love for the town of Clarenville are the real legacies that we are celebrating here today. To conclude, our new park has something for everyone. It is a wonderful addition to the many amenities that we now have in our town. I encourage all residents, young and old, to come and enjoy all that the Elizabeth Swan Park has to offer. Thank you.
Now I gotta check my notes, they're all mixed up now. Okay, thank you, Mayor Russell. Next, I'd like to invite MP Chance Rogers to bring greetings on behalf of the federal government.
Thank you, David. Mr. Mayor, MHA Lloyd, folks in the room, great day for Clarenville celebrating this beautiful facility. When I was just walking around outside and seeing the facility and its completion, it's a marvelous piece of infrastructure for the community of Clarenville to be able to come to participate in different events and the programming that's offered here. It is indeed a glorious moment for this community to be able to say we now have this facility. I think a lot of congratulations have to go out to a lot of the Lions, other organizations that were mentioned by the mayor, private sector people that got involved. All the different levels of government that contributed. That's what brings about these kinds of facilities, that great partnership. But somebody has to direct that. And of course, the work that you see from the CEO of the town on down to the councils and previous and past councillors and mayors and the people that got involved in this kind of adventure that makes this thing achievable. I'd like to acknowledge a lady who's not here today, but certainly would love to be here. Of course, she's in a different role, and that's my predecessor, Judy. I shall call her Judy, even though she's her Lieutenant Governor. Judy would certainly, be here today if she could be, certainly, and offer congratulations to the town of Clarenville. So I know the work that she put into helping secure funding for this kind of infrastructure. I didn't know Elizabeth Swan. I've heard so much about her, read so much about her, and I'm sure she was beloved by the community of all of the people of Clarenville, because she was so heavily involved as a community activist and the kinds of things that she did for the community. So, aptly named Elizabeth Swan Park is certainly a great tribute to Elizabeth, and certainly it's something that will carry on her memory because of her tremendous commitment to the community of Clarenville. I just want to say that as Member of Parliament and representative for the Government of Canada, I'm just delighted to be here today, and thanks for everybody for the invitation, just to acknowledge that the Government of Canada made a contribution to this particular facility. And all of you should be proud of the fact that this was such a team effort from all 3 levels of government and everybody involved. So thanks for having me. I'll finish off by saying, have a great Canada Day. Happy Canada Day.
Thank you, Jared. Next, I'd like to call upon our new MHA for the Terranova District, Mr. Lloyd Parrott.
Thank you, David, MP Rogers, Mayor Russell. Proud to say that this is my very first event for the town of Claremont as your MHA, and it couldn't make me more happy. I bring a bit of a different perspective to this park and how it came about, in the fact that I was one of the people that actually bid for construction of this park in my previous role. And then I got to sit on town council, and now I'm obviously your MHA. The hard work that went into this, and David can attest to the conversations that we had even during the bid process, it was astronomical, and all levels of government and volunteers stepped up. So what I think about today, when I think about this park and how it came about, was 103 years ago, 801 people volunteered from a population then that was about 221,000. And the following morning, there was only 68 of them left. And it was all volunteered. And the town of Claremont is a true testament to how volunteers work here in this province. It comes together every time there's a requirement for volunteers. People step to the plate here. And I don't think you see that in every community in Newfoundland, certainly not to the level that you get right here. So, you know, I'd like to thank everyone for inviting me. I'd like to say that Claremont should be very proud of this facility. It's for the whole community. It serves the region in its entirety, actually, because you hear of people from all over coming here. It's accessible, which is at the first of its kind in this area. And the town council, the provincial government, the federal government, and certainly the volunteers that made this happen, they have a recognition. And it's aptly named after Elizabeth Swan, who was a great community leader. And, you know, this town is full of great community leaders. So hats off to everyone, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Parrott. Good job. So as many of you know, Elizabeth Swan was a founding member of the Flying Blades figure skating club here in Claremont. And as the mayor mentioned previously, Elizabeth had a passion for figure skating, and she garnered national recognition for her work in the figure skating world. I'm very pleased to have some of our Flying Blades skaters here with us today. I'd like to call them to come forward, if you can, to help us make a very special presentation to the Swan family. Okay, so as you can see, a few months ago I contacted the Swan family with an idea I had presented to council. While most of us know who Elizabeth Swan was, visitors and our younger generation may not know why this park bears her name. So with the help from the Swan family, we created a storyboard that will be permanently displayed in the cookhouse and here in the chalet. Thousands of people visit this park each year, I should say, from across the province. Now they will all get a chance to read about the tremendous impact Elizabeth had on this community. May I ask that Marion, Fiona, and Ian please come forward to receive a framed copy of the storyboard we created to honor your mom, Elizabeth. Now let's give them a hand, folks. They traveled. We can get you guys when you're ready. Just take a. I don't want to put any pressure on you, Marion, but would you like to say a few words? No pressure.
Most of the words have already been said, but anyways, there we are. So. I still need a stool. Okay, so anyways, thank you, David. By now, you all know that Elizabeth Swan was our mother and grandmother, and we would like to thank the town of Clarenville for redeveloping this beautiful park that bears her name. She spent much of her life's energy developing recreational opportunities for the youth of Clarenville, and would have been thrilled to see the park and would have loved every minute of this community gathering and Canada Day ceremony. Congratulations to the town of Clarenville. We love you and thank you.